Dear students, welcome to this video lecture on managing input-output files in Java. Main objective of this session is to learn about files and how Java handles files, that is stream classes and its types. At the end of this session, you will be able to learn the need of files and how Java manages files. File. So far, we have used variables and arrays for storing data inside the programs. This approach is problematic in the following situations. Like the data is lost either when a variable goes out of the scope or when the program is terminated. That is, the data is stored in a temporary memory, that is RAM. As soon as you exit the program, whatever the data that you give it to the program will be lost. And also, it is difficult to handle large volumes of data using variables and arrays. To overcome these problems by storing data on a secondary storage devices such as floppy disk or hard disk is achieved. The data is stored in these devices using the concept of files. Data stored in files is often a persistent data. Once you store the data on a secondary storage device, it is permanent. And from those files that you have stored data, you can give a huge volume of data as an input to the program. So basically, a file is the basic storage unit in computer. Data stored in these files is a persistent data, as I told you. Storing and managing data using files is known as file processing, which includes the following tasks like creating a file, updating a file, and manipulating the data in the file. Java supports many powerful features for managing input and output of data using files. Reading and writing of data in a file can be done at two levels, that is at the byte level and even at the character level. Java provides capability to read and write class objects, that is file class objects directly. The process of reading writing objects is called object serialization. Concept of streams. In file processing, input refers to the flow of data into the program and output means the flow of data out of the program. Various input devices like keyboard, mouse, memory, disk, network, or any other program is treated as an input to the program. And similarly, the various output devices like a program, output screen, that is a monitor, printer, memory, disk, network, and other programming files are also considered as an output device. So here is a pictorial representation of input devices and output devices, and how the Java program takes an input from the input devices, that is the source, and how it writes the data to the output devices, that is to the destination. So the input devices may be like keyboard, mouse, memory, disk, or network, and the output devices may be like screen, printer, memory, disk, and the network. There is a unidirectional movement of data here, treating data as a sequence of bytes or characters. Java uses the concept of streams to represent the ordered sequence of data, a common characteristic shared by all the input-output devices as stated above. A stream represents a uniform, easy-to-use, object-oriented interface between the program and the input-output devices. A stream in Java is a path along which the data flows. It has a source and a destination. Both source and destination may be physical devices or a program or other streams in the same program. Here is the conceptual view of a stream. The concept of sending the data from one stream to another, like one pipe feeding into the another pipe, has made streams in Java a powerful tool for file processing. We can build a complex file processing sequence using a sequence of simple stream operation. And this feature can be used to filter data along the pipeline of the streams so that we obtain the data in a desired format. Okay, so when we open a tap in our household, the flow of water from the tap, that is the source, to the vessel or the container will be continuous. And this is actually the feature of stream, where the data stream is nothing but the path along which the data flows from source to the destination. And this flow of data will be always a continuous. And this feature made a Java unique compared to other programming language. Java supports two types of streams. It is called as byte stream and character stream. Byte stream is a set of classes that provide support for handling input-output operations on file at the byte level. Character stream contains a set of classes that provides support for managing input-output operations on characters. As we have discussed, Java has a huge set of built-in class libraries. These byte streams are nothing but the class libraries available in the Java, and it is available under java.io package, which contains a large number of stream classes that provides capability for processing all types of data in files, and they are categorized into byte stream and character stream. So here is the graphical representation of Java stream class. The Java stream class is divided into byte stream class and character stream class. Internally, the byte stream class is again divided into input stream class and output stream class. Whereas the character stream class is divided into read classes and reader class and writer class, and these classes are again subdivided into some other classes like memory, file, pipe, etc. under both input stream class, output stream class, and reader class and writer class. Coming to the byte stream classes, these have been designed to provide functional features for creating and manipulating streams and files, for reading and writing of files at the byte level. If you want to perform read and write operations on file at the byte level, you can make use of this byte stream class. They are unidirectional. There are two types of byte stream classes. It is called as input stream class and output stream class. Input stream classes. Input stream classes that are used to read 8-bit bytes include a superclass known as input stream, and a number of subclasses for supporting the various related input related functions. If you want to read files where the data is represented using 8 bits, you can use this input stream class. So the superclass input stream is an abstract class containing abstract methods, and therefore we cannot create any instance of this class. That means you cannot create directly an object of this class. So the input stream class defines methods for performing input functions such as reading bytes, closing streams, marking positions in C streams. That means you can mark from where the read operation must be carried out, and skipping ahead in stream. Suppose if you want to skip set of bytes, you can do it by using this method and finding the number of bytes in the stream. So these are the methods that are provided by the input stream method, input stream class. So the first one is read method, which is used to read byte from the input stream. Okay, and the second one is read byte B. So this method reads an array of bytes into the array B. a set of bytes is read from the file and it is stored into this byte array, that is B. And the third method, read byte B, int n comma int m. So this reads m bytes from the input stream into the array starting from the nth byte. Okay, so if the file contains set of bytes starting from the nth byte that you have specified as an argument to this read method, it will start reading a set of bytes and it will be stored in this array B up to m. Okay. And next is available. So the available method gives the number of bytes available in the input file, and the skip method skips over n bytes from the input stream. If you specify skip 5 as an argument to this method, so this method skips first 5 bytes and reads the remaining bytes into the from the input stream. Okay, next is reset. So if you want to go back to the beginning of the stream anywhere in your program, you can call this reset method to take back the cursor to the beginning of the stream. And the last method is close method. So once you read the content of the file, you can close the file which is no longer required, or you can close the input stream by calling this close method. Output stream classes. They are derived from the base class output stream. So the output stream classes contain set of methods which are helpful for carrying out write operation on the file. Okay, so like input stream, the output stream can also be used for performing the output operation. The output stream includes a set of methods because this is also a abstract class. You cannot directly create an object of that class and you can use it. Hence, it provides a set of methods that are designed to perform the following tasks, that is writing bytes, closing stream, and flushing the streams. So these are the methods that are supported by the output stream class. The first one is write method. So the write method writes a byte to the output stream. A set of bytes is written into the output stream using this byte method. And the second method is write byte B. So this writes all bytes from this array B into the output stream. And the third method is write byte B, int n comma int m. So writes m bytes from the array B starting from the nth byte. So from the nth location of an array, m bytes are written into the output stream. Okay. And the next method is close method. So this closes the output stream. And the last method is flush. So this flushes the output streams. Next, character stream class. So the byte stream class contains set of methods, classes and methods which are helpful for reading a byte. That means 8 bits of information. So in Java, every character is represented by following a 16-bit Unicode pattern. So to read a character, we have to read 16 bits of information. So character stream class is used to read and write 16-bit Unicode characters from and to the file. So there are two kinds of character stream class similar to the types of byte stream class, that is reader stream class and writer stream class. So the reader stream class is a class which is used for reading a character. So in case of byte stream class, input stream class is used to read input. So similarly, reader stream class of character stream class helps in reading the characters from the file. The reader class is the base class for all the other classes in this group. So these classes are functionally similar to the input stream class, except input stream uses bytes as their functional unit of information, while the reader stream uses characters as the functional unit of information. So this diagram indicates the subfunctions or the subclasses of reader class. Writer stream class. So the writer stream class are designed to perform all output operations on file. They are designed to write a set of characters. So the writer class is an abstract class which acts as a base class for all other writer stream classes. And this base class provides support for all the output operation by defining methods that are identical to those of output stream class. So the character stream group and the byte stream group contains parallel pairs of classes that perform the same kind of operation but for the different data types. So both the classes, stream classes, character stream classes and byte stream classes will be having the same set of methods which perform the same functionality but on different data type. One performs on byte and other performs on character. Okay. Next, using the file class. The Java input-output package includes a class known as the file class that provides support for creation of files and directories. The class includes several constructors for instantiating the file object, and this class contains several methods for performing input-output operations such as creation of file, that is creating file, and then opening file, closing file, deleting a file, and then getting the name of the file and getting the size of the file. Here the size means the memory size, and then checking the existence of file. You can check whether the file is already present or not. Okay, and then renaming a file, and finally you can check whether the file is writable or readable. Okay, so here file is a built-in class in Java. So you can create an object of this file type and then you can use it in your program development. And that concludes this session. Thank you for your patience listening.